Cardano is down. It's sideways. It's struggling. The doubt is coming from every single direction. In this video, I want to break down why it doesn't matter to me and why I'm accumulating ADA. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Thank you so much for coming by. This is a Cardano video. I wanna just speak as openly as possible. And let's start with the ugly picture of ADA on the 6-hour chart. It's no secret. ADA's down. ADA's down big time, 65% dip. And I sit here and I tell you that on the macro view, in the macro picture of things, Cardano is probably the best opportunity in crypto. And it's not just ADA, it's all of the altcoins literally getting ready to deploy on Cardano. I'm doing so much content about it. And it just seems like there's only a select few of people that are really even just seeing the opportunity. And I want to say this, as I do this video, I think in a year, 2, 3 years, we can look back and we can say, wow, Dan was like pretty on point, or wow, Dan was so wrong, right? And I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally cool with letting this story play out, and we'll see if like I'm right or wrong about this. But when I started covering Cardano pretty consistently around 10 cents, right? There were a couple things on my mind. Number one is on the short to midterm, like, wow, Cardano could explode. The staking mechanism just happened with the Shelley hard fork back here in July of 2020. And it's just like Cardano could just explode because what it's bringing to the crypto ecosystem in general. And it did. But along that, in my mind is kind of like, all right, I want to build on Cardano. I want to accumulate as much Cardano as possible, which is why the staking mechanism is so cool. We can accumulate Cardano every 5 days with the rewards that we receive. But along that line, there's the crypto approach. There's the charting approach. We know, we knew, and we know there's gonna be dips. There's gonna be environments where it's just like, oh my goodness, the pain is ridiculous. And we've been here on a shorter term, before, even back here, January into March. There's a couple weeks of dip back here, February to March here. So that's actually January, February, and then we got like February to March of huge dip. Here's a huge dip in this week, May 2021. This was kind of painful, but this has been the most painful, right? In terms of if you're just living in it every day and you're not zooming in on the charts, you have no plan, this could be like extremely painful. And as a content creator covering Cardano so much, it's actually like really difficult to track this because not only is it kind of boring, it's not as exciting as just parabolic gains, but the comments, everybody, it's unbelievable. I'm not going to focus on the comments, but like, wow. And the comments are so like missing the point of the opportunity that's screaming at them in the face. So many people selling Cardano now. And that is just like mind-boggling to me because the purpose of this video is to talk about why I'm actually starting to accumulate Cardano again at these levels. Let's talk about that. Let me dig into the chart so I'm not just sitting here talking. So here's the weekly. First things first. We know now because we've tracked it fall into oversold environments. So here's the stock RSI oversold, and we've looked historically what happens at these levels historically on this weekly zoomed out chart, and most often is the case it's something bullish after getting into these levels. That's number one. We talk about the RSI. We're at this momentum oscillator here right around the 35 line. It literally is, and if we kind of open this chart up a little bit, this is the bear market low of 2018. Cardano is on this RSI at that level. It's at bear market low territory on this momentum oscillator. There's a potential shift happening literally right now on the MACD. We have to keep tracking this weekly, see how this week closes. But you see the shift of the histogram. It doesn't mean it's going to shift here, but let's track that. But they're just from a macro perspective. And by the way, there's 5 days, 8 hours left of this weekly candle. On a macro perspective, it's like for me, doesn't matter what crypto it is, opportunity is glaringly real when you're looking at a chart. It's very simple. And this is based off of years of experience, years of tracking crypto. And I have years of video of me tracking these types of things and these moves. But let's dig into my accumulation approach for Cardano. This is not financial advice, everybody. I want to throw that out there. I'm not sitting here saying buy Cardano now because I'm buying. I'm just sharing with you finally where my head's at in terms of accumulation because Cardano is where it is. So let's first talk about, well, what's the trigger for it? For me, for the trigger for accumulation, here's the descending triangle we tracked for months. We were talking about $1.30 to $1.40 range. We were talking about it when it was above $2. We were talking about it speculatively when it was above $2. And Cardano has made the journey there. It took a while, it was painful, but we got there. That's number one. We also were talking about kind of this descending, falling wedge. Cardano hit the $1.20 target, right? And actually, the $1.20 area is kind of acting as kind of a support on the very short term. So we're hitting these two targets. We're in this macro oversold area. And so for me, I'm just like, this is it. This is where I have to start accumulating some Cardano. And it took 60%, around 60% dip for Cardano to get to this area. It's been a while since I've like kind of been accumulating Cardano, right? We were enjoying just awesome bull market gains. And by the way, Cardano outperforming, even still. I tweeted this the other day. I said ADA is up around 600% for the year. ETH is up 400%. BTC is up 60%. And I said Cardano's doing just fine. And I really think it is, unless you don't know how to zoom out on a chart. And here's the key. The fact that ADA dipped 65% is still outperforming is the most obvious long-term signal anyone needs. And to me, it seems so obvious. And I'll take the hate comments and negative comments that come at me just to do this content, to talk about this, because I truly I'm the type of person that I like to just have conviction when I do stuff. And if I'm really just tracking the long-term story of Cardano, I am so curious. I am so curious to see when we look back on this in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, how this plays out. I'm so curious. And I'm going to document that one way or another. We're going to track it. We're going to see. Now, going to the 6 hour, we see the trigger for me, what triggers accumulation. But let's talk about some things. Going over to the daily chart. Here's what we have going on this chart. We have an ascending broadening wedge. And I want to throw this out there. When I'm accumulating for any crypto, it's kind of like, all right, my first thought isn't really so much what will this go to? How much gains will I see on this? My first thought is usually how much lower could this thing go? Because that dictates how much I'm accumulating at this level, right? It's kind of buy zones. For me, I think it's extremely unwise to go all in at a certain level on any crypto. You always want to have some left over for buying heavier at lower prices. And maybe those lower prices never come, but at least you were ready for it and you're not overextended. So that's kind of where I am right now. Just getting those buy fingers warmed up. I'm accumulating Cardano. I bought some Cardano yesterday. I bought some Cardano today. But I do know a technical target to the downside is right at like this 80-cent range, right? So out of the ascending broadening wedge, there's an 80-cent target for Cardano down here. So I have that in my mind. I'm ready for that. And on the flip side of that, though, I have a speculative symmetrical triangle that I'm just very curious of. We do a lot of speculating on this channel in terms of patterns and stuff. And a lot of times they come to fruition, don't they? We see it happen a lot. Now, in terms of this, I'm looking for a potential move back to the upper trend line. That would be the story of Cardano leveling out and finally breaking above this 20-day moving average, making a move to the 50-day moving average, breaking it, and at the very least, kind of testing the 200-day moving average up here. It's the fight of those moving averages. It's Cardano turning the storyline around. I think that move could be getting close. So we know what to anticipate to the downside, 80-cent range for Cardano. But to the upside, let's see if Cardano can start making its move to the upside. A third touch to an upper trend line area would be really nice for Cardano. And if we're looking at that on the 6 hour, here's what it looks like. Let's zoom in. And this is kind of on the short term what we can kind of track in terms of Cardano. This is the 6 hour, and it's like, it's just amazing to me how these Fibonacci's come into play. Look at the lower highs in this pattern. It's swing high to swing low. And you see that green rectangle? It's a 618 to 786 resistance. Lower high resistance. Boom. Cardano hit it perfectly. That next swing high to swing low, Cardano, boom, hits it perfectly. Resistance. Again, swing high to swing low. Boom. Look at that. And it just gets squeezed into consolidation. And then lastly, swing high to swing low, another lower high. Right now, Cardano is there testing another Fibonacci. It could very much fail here today. It could fail here at this resistance area, the upper trend line. It's like $1.27 at 618, the 786 around $1.28. It's such a small range. Cardano can fail. We can be testing $1.20 by tonight, by tomorrow morning, if we don't get the breakout, the bullish confirmation breakout that we're looking for. So that's what I'm tracking on the short term. And I'm aware, hey, I bought some Cardano today. I'm aware it could go down. Doesn't matter to me. It really does not matter to me. I'm aware it could break the lower trend line to the downside, and we could be starting to make our way to this descending triangle target, or you can call it a symmetrical triangle. You have a kind of a $1.20 horizontal trend line. Doesn't matter what you call it. Target to the downside, about the same, hitting right around probably uh, you know, just under dollar 90 cent to $1 range to the downside. I'm well aware that can happen. So in those scenarios where Cardano's hitting a 90 cent target or an 80 cent target to the downside, I'm very aware, I'm very ready for that because it's all mental. This is all planning. It's all anticipating and being ready for every scenario. But what we look for to the upside is the break to the upside. Cardano is oversold on these charts. I'm not even talking about all of the exciting things going on fundamentally for Cardano in the ecosystem. I'm not even talking about, I know there's upside for Cardano. That's why I'm accumulating Cardano. But from an altcoin perspective, the projects building on Cardano, that is where the opportunity gets ridiculous, right? And so I haven't even talked about that. But these are some reasons why I'm so bullish on Cardano. It's where it is technically, the technical problems in crypto that Cardano is solving. Smart contracts, recently released, and so many projects getting ready to be deployed on Cardano. And I think it's going to take the crypto space by storm if we can just be patient. This 4-month dip, if it's all you're focused on, that's very short-term thinking. That is not where my head is at all. I'm thinking long-term. So let's see what Cardano does. That's my approach. This is what I'm thinking. It's where my head's at. I appreciate you coming by. I really do. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.